In the endless desert of paths, sand drifted beneath a sky with no horizon. Threads of pale light stretched endlessly through the white expanse, trembling softly like veins beneath skin. At their center knelt a girl, shaping something from the sand with careful, empty hands. A spine, ribs, the beginning of another Titan. The desert did not change. The work did not end. Sand slipped through her fingers in endless silence, while distant echoes moved through the paths like fading ghosts. Rage, grief, prayers, screams. They brushed against her and vanished. Still she worked. Slave, mother, God, prisoner. Time did not exist here, yet eternity pressed against every grain of sand. Countless forms had risen beneath her hands, only to vanish into the world beyond the paths. She remembered each one without understanding why she remembered at all. Some had been monsters, some had been children. All of them had carried pain. The glowing branches above pulsed softly, carrying memories through the endless white. Sometimes she caught fragments she could not escape. A king seated upon a throne of bones, the crack of a whip, the warmth of small hands clutching her dress, a spear flying through the air, love twisted into obedience, death mistaken for devotion. The memories faded, but the ache remained. Still she worked. Then the desert changed. The wind died without warning. The drifting sand froze in mid-air. Even the glowing branches overhead seemed to still, their endless pulse faltering, as though something older than the paths had stepped into them. Footsteps followed, measured, unhurried. Each one carried across the white expanse with impossible clarity. The girl lifted her head. A figure stood beyond the dunes, black robes moving like living shadow against the endless pale. He seemed less like a man entering the desert and more like night itself taking form within it. Darkness clung to him gently, reverently, trailing at his feet as though reluctant to release its king. His pale face revealed nothing, yet his presence pressed against the paths with quiet, immeasurable authority. The glowing branches trembled. He surveyed the endless desert in silence, dark eyes lingering on the rivers of memory overhead. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft, but it carried through the realm like law. "You have endured this for far too long." The girl stared. No one came here. No one spoke. She lowered her eyes and returned to the Titan taking shape beneath her hands. The stranger crossed the sand and knelt beside her without hesitation. That made her pause. "You still build," he said, calm as falling snow. "Even now." Her fingers trembled. Something flickered through the air around them. Trees rushing past, breathless running, dogs barking in the distance. A voice calling her name like an order. The visions vanished as quickly as they came. The man's expression did not change, though ancient sorrow lingered beneath his stillness. "They taught you there was no end," he said. "So you made eternity out of suffering." The sand shifted uneasily. The girl opened her mouth, but silence met her. She had forgotten how to speak long ago. Perhaps she never truly had. The stranger regarded her with patient understanding, as though silence itself were merely another story waiting to be heard. Above them, darkness spread slowly across the empty sky. Not emptiness. Night. Cold stars emerged one by one. The man looked upward, and the stars seemed to answer him. "I have walked through kingdoms built from grief," he said softly. "I have seen chains worshipped as purpose." The glowing branches overhead shuddered. Far away, voices echoed through them. "Fight. Obey. Continue." The girl flinched instinctively, but the man beside her remained utterly still. "No one commands you now," he said. The words settled over the desert with terrible gentleness. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the sand around them stirred. Shapes emerged from the dunes, not bodies, but impressions. Shadows pressed into memory. A child wrapped in chains. A young woman staring blankly ahead. A figure standing alone beneath a great tree. All of them were her. The girl stared at the visions with widening eyes. The stranger watched them in silence. "You carried this realm because you believed pain was all that remained of you," he said, "and because no one ever asked you to set it down." The shadows dissolved into drifting sand. The girl's hands tightened. Another memory surfaced. Not pain this time. A brief moment beneath sunlight. Her daughters laughing. Wind moving through grass. A feeling so distant it hurt more than cruelty ever had. The memory vanished almost immediately, swallowed by the endless white. Yet he had seen it. "There," he said quietly. "That is the truth of you." The girl looked at him again, confusion flickering across her face. No one had ever spoken to her as though she were human. For countless ages, she had only been needed, never understood. He reached down and let sand run slowly through his fingers. "In every realm," he said, "there are those who mistake endurance for destiny. They continue because they cannot imagine what remains without suffering." His voice softened further. "But all dreams end." The branches overhead pulsed violently. Sudden visions tore through the air. Colossal titans marching beneath burning skies. Cities crumbling, children crying out in terror. A boy with furious eyes screaming that he would destroy the world. The girl recoiled. Pain rippled through the paths like a storm. Yet the stranger remained untouched by it, calm at the center of chaos. "You are bound to all of them," he said. "Their rage, their grief, their fear." The visions slowed. "But their suffering cannot free you." The desert fell silent once more. For the first time, the girl truly looked at him. His eyes held no cruelty, no desire, only endless night and infinite distance. "I am Dream of the Endless." The title moved through the paths like the tolling of a great unseen bell. Something ancient answered. The glowing branches bowed subtly overhead, trembling before a power older than memory, older than gods. Dream extended his hand toward her. "You may rest." The words were barely louder than a whisper, yet the paths shattered around them. The sound spread endlessly through the desert, like ice breaking across a frozen sea. The unfinished Titan collapsed soundlessly into dust. The girl stared at her empty hands as though seeing them for the first time. The sand no longer moved toward her. No new bones formed. No invisible command pulled at her fingers. She was still, truly still. Then tears slipped silently down her face. Not the tears of grief, not fear, relief. Across the desert, the glowing branches dimmed, one by one, like a long-held breath finally released. The distant voices faded into silence. The rage disappeared first, then the screams, then the endless commands that had echoed through eternity. Dream touched her forehead gently. Warmth spread through the cold emptiness of the paths. The stars above brightened, and for the first time since entering this endless place, the girl smiled faintly. Small, fragile, human. The sands grew still. The branches overhead crumbled slowly into drifting light, and somewhere far beyond the paths, titans vanished from the world like dreams dissolving at dawn.